DevOps is one of those things, isn't it, that we all want to do. Everybody wants, we want to have DevOps going on in our business. But what does it mean? What's the reality of having DevOps? And how does it interplay with Power BI? Hi, my name's Ross, the creator and founder of Geordie Consulting and Geordie Intelligence, the YouTube channel you're watching right now. What we do at Geordie Intelligence is we tend to look more than just what's going on, what are we doing, how do we do those tippy-typey code type things. We start to explore the whys. Why are we doing it this particular way? Because when you understand why, it makes it much easier to determine and decide just how much resource your organization should put into something, or really, if it's even worth considering for you at all. When we're looking at DevOps, it's an ideal process that comes from the heart of big businesses providing primarily software as a service solutions to clients. That's the root of it. That's where this comes from. This is about having highly technical people building and delivering consistently and almost constantly against a platform. If that's what you want for your BI suite, we can do it. If you're looking and thinking, hang on, my BI suite needs to have stability. We need to have a stable bedrock that isn't constantly being changed and constantly evolving. That's then where I think we need to understand, what is this DevOps side? What's actually being discussed with it? What does it actually mean? Let's have a look now and let's see actually the realities of what's going on. So here we are, okay? This is kind of where we left off last time we looked at this. You build the idea of having a deployment pipeline. That's something that people can get behind and understand an awful lot about. We're going to have a dev environment, we're going to have a test environment, we're going to have a production environment. That makes sense, and a lot of people are quite comfortable with that idea. And all we need to do is kind of go through and we'll pick an environment. We'll say, yeah, let's pick everything and let's deploy it, give it a message. I'm doing this now, and deploy it. So we've moved through, we understand that cycle. So the question is always kind of, how do we get to the development stage? And already we're coming up against a problem, okay? Because this isn't DevOps. By default, this is not DevOps. And this is where the wheels start to come off the whole concept of what we're doing. And it's why we need to really understand what is the ask and what are we exploring as we're going ahead and doing this. Because the truth is, the only goal we have is to make sure that the semantic model, that's this piece here, this component, is fit for purpose. That is goal number one. There is nothing else that's really vital at this point. Okay? And that being right and stable and good this needs to happen over time. It needs to be managed consistently. And so what we've built with this is a traditional deployment solution where you go dev, test, prod, dev, test, prod. Some environments might have dev, test, QA, prod, where you go through an extra step. Okay, but the fundamentals are still the same. You've got multiple environments that you are progressing things through. Okay, that's the goal with this. DevOps is different to this. Okay, DevOps is kind of saying, well, we're doing that internally the whole time. So DevOps would be here in GitHub, where we would connect this to. So here is our GitHub repo that I've connected to development, okay, which is kind of the plan. So development is going to be the one that's connected to GitHub. We would do our work in GitHub. We can do Git pulls and do all that stuff within it. Make sure that works. It's not a problem, is it? That's really simple. Then what we're going to do is, well, we've now deployed our code. We're now good to go. But at that point, then it's going through further testing. But who is testing it in QA or test? That is the key question with this. So the point and the basis of your DevOps solution is that those people who are involved in it are all technical. There isn't we've got a non-technical team involved in DevOps. It is all, these are technical people who will review each other's code, and it merges through and comes back. And then periodically we say, right, we're going to push that out into the Power BI service. We might go through a change management process for the business to say, right, we're now updating the latest set of code. So we might do, say, a 2-week sprint and say, right, we've done a sprint, we've updated the code, let's push that back. Okay. Now you think, hang on, where does all the patience? Let's see where we are with this first. That works really well, and it does work, okay? There's some subtleties, shall we say, in terms of getting the things connected. Basically, what you need to do is you need to enable Git integration unless you have Azure DevOps in your business. In terms of the Git integration, it's mostly in the admin portal. We can search the admin portal for Git, and you see we have these 4 components here, okay? Now, this is something that I would recommend you do in your organization. This is the way you do it, which is only to enable it for a subset of your organization, okay? So we have already a group, which is this Power BI publish to web, which of course you all know, under no circumstances should you publish content to the web. We publish content to the web because that's what we then share that you click through. Those are Power BI contents that published to the web. And it's great because there's no license requirements for it. And it's great because there's no security requirements for it, which for a business is kind of a, don't do it. Okay, so generally don't do it. But because we know that's happening in our organization, we restrict it. Okay, so it's pretty much only me who can do it. And maybe somebody else if they're going to be working on specific areas related to what we're doing. And we control that. And I thought for the sake of this, we're doing this for the video as well. This is all related to the video stuff. I'm going to use the same group for these. So we've enabled users to sync workspaces with it. The other thing, or the thing that I've had to do, and this is one which possibly is more or less of an issue depending on where you are, but of course you have to allow Git to export data to a different area. That's key. Okay, this is really important. Presumably if you're in the US, you might be okay. Git might be sending it to you. It stays in the US. I'm in the UK, so this is putting stuff from us outside here. Don't really care because we're doing this with New York data, so it's data from the US, so we're pulling to the UK and it's going back to the US. I don't think anyone's going to really be too annoyed about it. But yeah, this is something where you might think for our business data, we don't want to do that. Okay? And I'm saying for our business data because, yeah, that's the issue. Because, yeah, right? So you go through there, you set all those settings off, that's fine, right? And the yeah part was around here. So I've set this up, okay? On one of the drives, we've set up a nice little sync to here. So this is our local version. Right now, our local version is based on Power BI file. Okay, so we'll open Power BI. Okay, but what we've done is we've saved the V3 file that we built. Last time it was saved as a project file, okay, which means it explodes out the zip file that is a PBIX. But don't tell anybody it's secretly a zip file. Okay, it explodes it out and you end up with a file structure underneath it. That file structure is here. Okay, so we've got everything, the PBIX, definitions, it's all here for us. And the idea then being that, well, it's code, so we can then modify the code and do what we need. In terms of the modify the code and do what we need, you do have everything here. So we've got expressions. This expressions TMDL file does have kind of everything that you would want in terms of we've got all the M script code here that goes into the expressions to build our lab table, to build our inspected by table. Okay, so we can see we've got stuff going on with it. We've got information about the model. We've got all sorts of other things there for us. And that's pretty much of a muchness in terms of where we end up being. And obviously we can come to DAX and see all the measures that we've got, and we could then go through and update the TMDL files to build additional measures in there. Or we could say, well, we're going to open that in Power BI Desktop and do the work in Power BI Desktop. So it will all work. This is connected back into our so again, we're not being complicated at this point so far. Okay, we've got a couple of measures, we've got a couple of things in here. But you could imagine this will get complex quick. Okay, so we've got this whole DevOps structure we can wrap around in GitHub and do it in GitHub. And everything that we do in here, you can see roughly what's happening within it. It's quite clear that we've got the structure of our data set that's coming through. These are pulling straight from existing data flows. There's no real information in there. That's why they're just dropping straight through. But we have now a nice structure that we can use our VS Code interface with. We can use this with insert AI engine of your choice here and start to build more and have it do more. You can have conversations back and forth with the data and help you structure what you need and how to update it. So you've got all that capability. Then obviously you save it. When we save it, you run through whatever your internal Git commit cycle is. And then once it's up in the cloud, you've then got your source control validation. Oh, I was probably on the right page before, wasn't I? Back here, source control will say there's an update to be done or something along those lines. And then it will see, right, okay, this is going through. What I've actually done is I've built another branch, so you have to kind of merge into the branch. The idea should probably be to actually have it in main, work through your branches, and then pull those back into main. I've probably done it the wrong way around, just as I was wanting to get the demo set up and I was having problems trying to merge everything back into main. But you can see, okay, there's a constant structure that we could go through and work through that would then land this into, this is now being built. We've had a team of developers, haven't we, now working to develop a solution for us. They're working in tandem, they're looking at each other's code, they're checking it, they're validating it as it's being merged in. So do we need the test step? Or should this now be ready to go to production? This is, honestly, like can of worms, I'm well aware of that. So yeah, we can understand, we definitely need test. This is also then where we get to that point of saying, right, we're now definitely no longer doing DevOps, because DevOps, the point is that it's kind of pushed by the developers, developer operations. It's a developer-led solution to deliver into production. We've stopped doing that by saying we're going to do that. We're now going to go into test. Somebody is going to test to make sure that report content still works. We can't do that, can we? Okay, so the traditional pipeline is going to move forward content. But what we really need to have is a test script that's embedded in this as well, that's then going to be run against that, and that needs to be valid. But we couldn't trust that that had come up from dev, could we? We'd have to publish it to here. So we'd end up having to have a secondary report, which again, none of this is a problem. You can have a secondary report, but you can say, right, we're going to bring this secondary report in. We've released it. Ross, we need you to validate. So Ross would have, here's my secondary report, which is based on, and remember what I've said many times, when I'm building my large PBIX files, I traditionally add pages based on report content that the business is using, because that will help me validate models as they move through, or model changes as they move through. So it's a more understood and predictable experience in the business. Now, we could have that as a thin report and then just push this into test and then review that and have checkbox or do something around there to say, right, where this validates, this works, tick, tick, tick. We're now confirming this is past testing to go into production. That's something we can do. There might be a case saying, well, we need to understand what's going on with these measures. That's something we can do as well. You do have in here, it is quite good at being able to look at the differences between things. So if, for example, I go back to here, let's close this. Let's add a new measure. Okay, this is a stupid measure. I'll be the first to admit it. Buildings, inspections. Okay, so means nothing, okay? Buildings over inspections. There's nobody's going to turn around and say, we need that measure in here. This is tickety-boo, A1, okay? So we've got that. I wanted really to do that just so we can see kind of the route this goes. So I'm going to hit save on this project. So we've saved the project. So if I come back to here, what we should be able to see is if we come in here and have a look here, let's refresh. Can we refresh with refresh? There we go. Real bit, yeah, buildings over inspections. Okay, so here is our text that we put in. Okay, so we should now be able to say, right, let's come back to here. See there's some changes, let's commit them. Yeah, that's fine, let's commit those. Does not like that because it wants a message, doesn't it? Tell you what I'm going to do, I'm going to cheat. So we can see the difference, we've got everything there, it should be good to go. Okay, so we've managed to do it. I needed to give it a message, put that in. Okay, done it, right? It's really annoying. Again, VS Code is supposed to come up and say, put the message in. It doesn't seem to do that very well. I need to look into that. So we can now go back, can't we? So it is in there. So it's there, it's in main. So we need to push main. Need to get that pull request to work, don't we? Okay, so let's come back to here. 2 branches. New pull request. Okay, so we can see the changes here. See dividers in there. Okay, so we can see that. So let's create a pull request. Update to pull video. Create the pull request. Merge pull request. Confirm. We're into service now. Right, okay, so it looks like when we get in it. I love doing code-based demos, they're great. Let's come into here, into definitions, into tables, into DAX, 5 minutes ago. We don't have it again. No, builders over inspection, so it's there. Okay, excellent. So it's there now. We now have it. So we can now come back to here. Let's refresh this. Okay, hopefully Power BI is going to go, oh, there's a difference now. And it does. Got an update to make. Okay, so it's saying update here. I'm going to hit update all. So it's now going to update this. So we've now pushed and updated the semantic model, which is brilliant. That's what we wanted to do. Updating, updating, updating. Okay, close. So we can now come back into our pipeline and hopefully it now says, oh, I'm out of sync. So we've got that. We can see it's out of sync. These are the same. This is the one that's different from the source. Can we really see what it is? Not really is the problem, isn't it? So we can hit compare. Can't we? So here we go, compare. We've got quite a lot. There we go. Okay, so it's highlighting where the difference is. So we can see what the changes are. So we can understand that. But again, this is all technical, isn't it? There's no what's happened behind the scenes under the covers, as it were, to it. This is DevOps. So we've got everything through. We validate, yes, this has come through. We can see what changes there are. We could be able to put this take screen grabs of this, put this into our change so we can have that proper change. We now need to put this into test and do the work against it. So we've got it. We understand. Okay, so we can do that. So yeah, I would look to build a report pack or a thin report, push that to test, be able to validate that that's there. And then we'd know this is always going to be different between it, and it'll potentially be overwritten, or it might, other things might happen to it. Again, we would need to test and see what the right thing is. My instinct says it should be available to stay there, should keep being able to remain, but we might need to test. That's all I'm saying. Okay? And then obviously once you get to that point, everyone's fine, everyone's happy, you can then push that through the second part of change management and put it into production. But what you have to understand with this is that what we're doing and what we're talking about is the back end of Power BI. This isn't a front end tool. DevOps and all that functionality within Power BI is only for the data engineering side. The analyst side, data science side potentially as well, isn't going to touch it. So from a pure BI perspective, when we're building those secondary reports that go on to make the report packs that the business relies on, we couldn't go through this process because we don't develop them through script. We don't script them. We really need to have the layout of the page. We can lay it out on the page. We can do stuff with it. And I know that with TMDL and with the JSON formats that we've now got in Power BI projects, there's a lot more you can do and subtleties you can add into visuals that you just couldn't do with Power BI service. But it's not an intuitive system to look at. You kind of got concepts of visuals on a page that aren't necessarily the simplest. So we've got one page and one report, haven't we, in this? So if we go back and have a look at our service here, then we go back to our folders. Structure, we don't want this, we don't want semantic model, we're looking at here. So we've got the pages, definitions, here we go, pages, definitions, pages. This is the page, the visuals that are on the page, visual information. Okay, so the information is all there, and yes, you can update this, but how do you intuitively know that GUID relates to the visual that I'm talking about? And this is one page with one visual. If you imagine a page with 20 visuals, 30 visuals, some of the ones I've seen around with clients, 60 to 100 visuals, because we're just going to put stuff on the page, it becomes very difficult to turn around and say, right, for each page, I can do that, because they're GUIDs, they don't have names. Okay, and that is kind of where the issues lie. So we've got a nice schema, we've got a format. We could easily go through and say, right, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And there are ways we can talk about how we identify that. But it's such an edge case, I don't want to touch it in what we're doing. So for us, where we see this is very much, it's the back end side of data development, that whole ETL processing side where we're going through, we're building, we're doing things, we're making it right, we're pushing forward with it. What you did see as well, you might not have seen actually, I'm just saying what you did see. What you might have seen is, if we come back to here, you can see this isn't supported by Git. Okay, so that's the last piece with this, that Gen 1 data flows are not supported with Git. And for businesses that we're not going to touch Fabric because there's the extra cost, or because our side of the report, it isn't worth us going into Fabric because we've got 2 people who use this, or it's a small people or a subset, or whatever reason is that we're not going to put it in our corporate Fabric, we can't use GitHub effectively with everything, but our data layer would primarily be in GitHub, in Dataflow Gen 1s. Okay, so multiple Gen 1 data flows, but yeah, we can't pull that in. And again, you can see this is just within that one workspace. So think it through. There's ways, there's means. It's not like this is terrible at all. I don't want to be saying this is terrible. That's not It's just recognize this is only ever going to be a subset of what you are doing. And your main analysts are still going to have to go through, build their secondary reports. So, go through file, if we go to one of these, like the PowerPoint export report that we built for the Parkrun data set, this is the classic. This is the sort of thing that you will keep building, likely in the Power BI desktop client, or I know it's being enhanced that the Power BI service can now do an awful lot more. So, we've kind of got this report. By always go and have a look. There's a link down below for it. But stuff like that is likely to still be developed and built in Power BI desktop. I can't see a way that we could realistically get to the point where we're going to structurally build all this in code when the drag and drop and overlaying everything is just that much quicker. Okay? But again, let me know down below what you think. So I'm feeling very Steve Jobs or Bill Gates or something like that kind of demos just go wrong and take all sorts of wrong turns. The reality is the workflow, it does work. It's just a case of you need to wrap it up properly. And I've just not, because I've stood something up that's just going to work while we do a demo, as opposed to saying, right, we need to have the proper rigor and set it up so it's something that's going to work and be a proper repo. The thing to remember as well is that if your PBIX file or your PBIP file, whatever it is, the project file is in import mode, potentially that data is going to be in GitHub. So that data is in GitHub. That's a concern potentially from a business perspective. That data should not be in GitHub, might be what your view of it. So there are things to be aware of with this. This isn't just a simple, oh, it's great, we can do it. This is a case of we need to understand what is happening with this. Even if we're using Gen 1 data flows, 99% of our Gen 1 data flows that we have are running in import mode. So, they will have been imported in. That data is then now being pushed up to the GitHub environment. So it's be warned, be wary. You are potentially putting stuff beyond your borders with it. That's part of the nature of the Azure DevOps side, where it's supposed to be, well, this is in your Azure environment. But again, potentially, if it's sensitive data, you do not want it in your Azure environment by default. So it isn't as easy as just saying, well, we're just going to do this. There are going to be times when you do not want to do this. I know many businesses who their HR reports, for example, are built internally by HR or even by a dedicated consultancy that they will use specifically just for their HR reporting because it is so sensitive. These are, this is normal. This isn't a case of this is terrible. It's a case of saying potentially it's not something that our normal IT department or normal build cycles we could support. Likewise for kind of your pot of gold, right, your full customer list, that whole CRM reporting, you need to be careful. Do we really want that being pushed into full things? We just need to be aware. It's unlikely for a CRM just because the size of that data tends to be a lot bigger than your HR reports, but you need to be aware. What are we doing? Where is the data going? You could see I had to export it to beyond our geographic boundaries to get it to work with GitHub. You definitely should not have that issue within Azure DevOps unless you've got a really distributed organization. But be aware. Finally, of course, with this, it's understand that this will take you up to the point where you've got model. So if you remember, the way we talk about these things is we get lots of different areas that come together into a model, and then they go out into reports from the other side. So be aware, you've kind of got half the battle built there with this Azure DevOps, and then you're going to have to piece together what the rest is. But the rest is, it's a more subtle, nuanced, less likely to be massively IT-centric way of working, just because it doesn't work that way. You've got business timelines driving when these should be published. But also remember that these are configurations as opposed to changes. So we are updating a configuration because we're pushing in a new report. We aren't updating the model. Okay, we're saying, right, here's a different way of looking at the same model. You may disagree down below. Let me know. I've seen it all. Okay, I've seen businesses that want change for all of these. It rapidly changes when you go, right, we're pushing 2, 3, 4, 5 changes a day for different reports that are going through for different departments because of what they want. And fundamentally, what's the risk? Well, none, because it's a configuration. It bolts onto the existing model, doesn't change the existing model. It just connects to it. It's not going to break the model because it's a read-only connection. All those things kind of come into the play. So, yeah, but horses for courses. I hope that's given you something to think about, and I hope you've looked at my struggling with GitHub and thought, wow, he really shouldn't have done a demo like that, and haven't had too much entertainment out of it. If you have, don't forget, leave a comment down below. We've got a nice offer where you can buy me a coffee to make me feel better for you laughing at me. For now, though, stay safe, take care, ta-da.